All right, y'all. We back at it again. We trying to get through these love questions, but love is deep, man.
Love is deep.
It's hard to get through those questions.
Mm-hmm.
It really is, man. Like
Yeah.
this might be just one of the most longest portions of the series because it's levels. Like first, start spiritual or health. I don't even know if we started spiritual. I don't know. I think we did. I think we went in order, but
We did wealth and then some.
we did wealth, health,
Yeah, well, health,
love.
love.
Oh, we ain't did spiritual yet.
I think we may have. Excuse me. It's late night.
I don't know.
I think we may have touched on it at some point. We'll go back and see. We can. I mean, the spiritual. Well, it depends. It's
It depends.
at least we need at least one episode. I think it will be worth touching on it because it is important. But as he said, the love part is arguably the longest part. It's the deepest part because it's about love, despite what all we wanna make it about, what all it could also be about. But you know, anywho, in this episode, we will wrap it up with a few last questions. One is, how do you share your emotions? Yeah, yeah.
Oh, what up? What up?
Come on.
That
How do you
is-
share your emotions?
What I'll add to that is, do you have an understanding of emotional intelligence, right? And what I mean by an understanding of emotional intelligence, because people don't know what the hell emotional intelligence is. Most people don't. Emotional intelligence is being able to stop and say, okay, if you're triggered, if you're frustrated, if you're angry, stressed, worried, having fears, whatever, about something, why? Why am I feeling this? And is it something I want to feel, or is it something that I want to change, or I want to, move through and become better at? So that's what I would add in addition to that question.
Yeah, I will add to that. And sometimes, okay, so these some of these questions you may not really be able to convey or grasp the answer yourself. But at the very least, it's something to start thinking about. So I say that because when it comes to emotional intelligence, when it comes to knowing how you share your emotions and how you deal with your emotions, I can say that for myself, I really didn't. I'm still figuring that out quite well. And it's really just recently that I'm like, oh, when it comes to emotions, that's where I'm slow. Like, I'm a very fast paced person in a lot of the things I do. But when it comes to like emotional reckoning and like intuitive emotional dealing with and whatever you may call it, that's where I come in and I'm slow, because slow in terms of when I'm feeling a type of way, when something happens that triggers some type of emotions, and if you ask me then and there how you feel, how do I feel, I'm highly not really ready and able to really put my hand around it and express that to you. It takes me time. I'm gonna go through my day-to-day routine, go to work, do my thing, see my patients, do my thing, whatever, check off my to-do list, whether it's kids involved, me involved, all that. I'm gonna do my regular thing while that thing that triggers certain emotions, better or worse, is in the back of my head. And it may take me days, sometimes even weeks or months, to connect some dots and say, hey, this is why, first of all, this is how I feel about the situation, for real, and recognize that and acknowledge that, and then say, oh, maybe there is some connection to X, Y, and Z, and maybe this is why I'm feeling how I'm feeling, and maybe this is how I can use this emotion for my betterment and for the betterment of our relationship moving forward. So that's a lot of layers. Some people may be able to arrive to that in like a day, in like hours, sometimes even minutes. I don't know. But for some of us, and in this case, I say us as in I'm in this category, is that it takes us time. And you may not know which one of those you are yet, depending on which one of the two of you in the conversation trying to get to know each other for a potential relationship or mate situation you are yet, but at least it's worth bringing up the question and say, how do you deal with emotion? And then I know the question was, how do you share them? Some people are more comfortable sharing their emotions. Some people are not, right? One thing, at least for us, that we've realized is one way or the other, we've realized sharing them with each other is quite helpful. Now, not necessarily every emotion needs to be shared with your significant other at all times, but certain ones really are important to share because your emotions change your mood, they change your output, like how you respond to your partner, how you interpret their words and their actions. One thing they do could have been taken nicely and beautifully, if you are in a certain emotional state, whereas if you're in a different emotional state, you vilify what they do, and it's literally the same thing. It's just you are receiving it different because you are in a different emotional state and a different mental state. So as much as your emotions and your mental well-being and everything is yours, if you really do end up sharing your life with this person in the concept of long relationship, marriage, parenting, a child together, all of those things, your emotions will and do play a role into the dynamic of your relationship and your household. So it is important to at least start thinking about, how do I recognize my emotions and deal with them, um, and how do I then share them, if you have something else to add.
What I'll say to that, y'all, is this, right? We learn emotional intelligence or emotional, uh, how can I say? This is the best context, I guess. We learn emotional teaching through our family and upbringing because there is no class in school about that. Maybe not until you get to university, but at university, not everybody studies emotional intelligence. Not everybody's going to be a psychiatrist or a psychologist. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just not what everybody's
Most of
in
us
school.
just take Psych 101 and that don't really do much.
Right. And then most people don't really venture on after that, right? If you're big, like me, into the self-growth movement and mindset, and your brain has unlimited plasticity and everything like that, then y'all know what I'm talking about. But not everybody puts weight on that initially, right? And not everybody sees the benefit in that. And not everybody has even been through, I would say this, experiences that have caused them to be in a position where you had to deal with those things. We live in a society and time today where we really do try to avoid obstacles as much as we can, right? And I think the only downside to that is the obstacles aren't avoiding us. You know what I mean? And when you come up against something, it's, I think, at times a little bit more difficult than it could be or should be if you had a plan or some framework to say, okay, I've been here before, I know how to deal with this, right? I know how to do this. For example, majority of us know how to walk because we've just done it so many times. Like, it's not even something that we think about anymore. But for example, our little one right now, she's still, she knows how to walk, but now she's trying to run. You know what I'm saying? And running is a little bit difficult for her because she still doesn't have the balance thing all the way down. But eventually it'll become such common knowledge and second nature that she won't even have to think about it. So I think in terms of, how you deal with your emotions, I do think that's something that is something physical, something mental, and something spiritual. You know what I'm saying? I, as I said, I think some people have just had so many repetitions through emotional situations that they're just able to breeze through and fly through it, where their partner or significant other just may not be able to do that at that level. But I do think that's something that should be valued, especially if you're talking about children, because children learn, I would say, 90% everything from their parents. You know what I'm saying? Like 90% is learned from us if you're a parent. You know what I'm saying? And that's, that's a significant portion of a person, in my opinion. How you share emotions, just to add my, 3 cent to that conversation, is, again, something that's different for everybody. It's something that doesn't look the same for everyone. One person may prefer to write. One person may prefer to, this is the music I'm feeling. This is the video I'm feeling. I'm a big, for example, I'm a big music dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I grew up in a music family. Senna didn't. Right? She grew up in a dancing family. We ain't really dance like that. We know how to dance, but we ain't dance like that. We did more with music. Now, I can convey, if I'm in a mood, I can convey 100% of what I want to say non-verbally, but with music, right? The music says a lot about what type of mood I'm in, what type of tone I'm in. Not all the time, because sometimes I just want to listen to some sad junk. You know what I'm saying? Like, just to calm down all my hype energy. But other times it may just be, I'm really in this mood. I'm really depressed, and it's just what I'm feeling right now. You know what I mean? Maybe even might be what you eat, the food, whatever, things like this. You know what I'm saying? So however you share that, just be real and be like, "Lo, this is what I need in this moment with this emotion." So that's straight up. That's love.
Thank you for your time on the mic, Brother Jason.
I appreciate that. All love, all love.
The other thing to wonder and talk about is what does sacrifice look like to you? For some people,
Especially if that's your love language.
right? For some people, it's their time. Like, it's like, hey, if I take my time to spend with you, doing whatever you want to do, or celebrating you, or what have you, that's sacrifice. For others, it's buying you gifts. For others, it's their material stuff, or their family, for that matter. So whatever sacrifice looks like to you, so that at the very least, because you don't want to be doing something, it will be awkward for you to be doing something and thinking, hey, I'm sacrificing myself for our relationship, for our family, for our household, and the other person is looking at you like you're a fool, because to them, they don't view that as sacrifice, right? And they're still waiting for you to sacrifice in a way that makes sense to them. But whole time you like, wait, hold on, I'm giving my all, and they're like, wait, hold on, wait, when, how, where, So it's important to have that conversation. Did you want to add something, my love? Okay. The other thing is, how do you feel heard? Do you need full attention? We're sitting down. Let's talk about this. Staring into each other's lovely brown eyes. Everybody's eyes are brown, but we are a household of brown eyes, so brown eyes is our thing. And talk, and as you are listening and reacting to what I'm saying and contributing to it and answering as I'm asking you questions about the scenario or whatever, then that's how I feel heard. Or when I'm gonna write it down and I want you to read it, and that's how you feel heard, which also in a way speaks to how do you communicate most, right? I guess that's another way to put that, is what is your best preferred way of communicating? Will be another way to ask that question.
What I'll say on that, y'all, is determine what type of conversation y'all having, right? And what I mean by that, we listened to a really great TED talk. Homie said this. I'm gonna sum it up this way. He said, "Are you having a logical conversation, an emotional conversation, or a social conversation?" Right? Because those are three different conversations. And when you're dealing with your emotions, you may be in all three, but usually one dominates, right? And you may be on a ripple of, all right, we start here, we move here, we go there, right? So if you're a really emotionally intelligent person, logically, you'd probably want to start with the emotional conversation first. However, if your person is still in the logic portion of the situation or argument or disagreement or whatever, you might want to start with the logic first. And that just comes with time and practice. You know what I mean? Because, again, you can't be heard if you're having a logical conversation, they're having an emotional conversation, or they're having a social conversation, and you're having a logical conversation. And we all fluctuate and go through that, especially, if you're a really creative person. I think we're all creative, and we're all logical, we're all emotional in our own way, right? But if you're more creative leaning, I think, sometimes it can be very difficult to start from a place of logic because we lean so heavily into our emotions. We lean so heavily into our passions and, what we feel, right? Versus your person may lean very heavily into, well, these are the facts. This is the bottom line. This is the result. And it can seem like y'all are crossing hairs or, pulling teeth, for an example. But y'all both saying the same thing. Y'all just trying to get at it at a different way. You dig what I'm saying?
I dig what you're saying. I dig it real dick. I dig it so well. I got water. Like a well. That's how much I dig it. I be digging. Like a gold digger.
Next question. Y'all knew we couldn't get through this whole thing without laughing. Next question.
Next and last question is any preferences for culture or does culture matter to you? And that is in terms of I guess we can culture / tradition, is there certain things I decide, we do this traditionally and I must have it that way, and vice versa. So just having that conversation and ending on a softer note. But yeah, that is it for the love section.
I ain't get my 3 cents on that question.
Give your 3 cents, please.
Yeah, you need to go to sleep. Anyway, culture is a mix of a lot of different things, right? You know what I'm saying? And one person's culture may not be known, common, or even understood to your partner. You know what I mean? So don't assume nothing first and foremost. But what I will say is be willing to be open and learning, about that person's culture and how they feel and what they think about it and, what their, what their thing is. You know what I mean? Like, seriously, because...
And why that is what it is. Why certain things are
why that is what it is.
Significant.
And I'll even say this, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's say you're feeling somebody, but, and this has happened before, I gotta be with somebody from my tribe, my clique. I can't be with nobody else, but I really like you. You know what I'm saying? Like, have that discussion, have that talk. You know what I'm saying? It may not go nowhere, but at least you can have that closure and be like, okay, I get it. It's just the way y'all do things. It's weird, it's outdated.
Just the way it is.
But yeah, man, culture is dope, bro. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you get some.
Wow.
That's where I'm done.
That's yo. Culture is dope. Make sure you get some, okay? Anyways, that is that on the love session of our LIB series. I hope you have tuned in for everything. If you haven't, go back, enjoy it. Let us know what you think of it. We still have one more session.
Two, maybe.
Two, yeah. So we have a couple more episodes before this series are completed, but the love section is completed. And we thank you for joining us and for getting to the nitty gritties and the tough parts. Because love, like he said, a lot of deep layers and things like that. But it was nice, and I personally enjoyed getting to those questions. Did you enjoy getting to those questions, my love?
I mean, it is what it is.
Oh, okay. Well, that's that. That's that. I'm not the only one who needs to go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? It's almost,
That shit was cool.
it's almost tomorrow, but yeah.
That shit was cool. You know what I'm saying? Straight up.
Yeah. All right, y'all. We're going to let that be that, and we're going to see y'all next time.
Peace and chicken grease.
Ciao.
Ciao.